I get caught up in comparison mode on social media, and I get caught up in that where like these people are, you know, they don't even have the personality and they're thriving and it doesn't make sense. How come that's not me? And then my mom actually told me, she's like, your time will come. Your time will come. Your time will come. And it's like the hope that one day that'll be mine, but also enjoying the fact that I kind of get to be behind the scenes of these celebrities' lives and not be in the limelight and just enjoy life where it's like, hey, this is my secret. On the side, people are like, oh, what do you do? Well, I have a cool secret job.
All right, Julia. It's nice to see you again. It's not again in the podcast, but again we did
Yeah.
recording in your podcast, which by the way, I'm gonna put a link below. I
Yes.
really enjoyed that conversation.
Oh my gosh, me too. Well, we're very similar, so I think that's
Yeah.
fine.
I feel like I met a friend
You
that day.
did. You did. Oh no, we're definitely we have to stay in touch after that and then after this too.
All
It's
right.
good.
I have the first question I ask everybody. What is
Okay.
something that at some point felt impossible for you and now is your new normal?
Listening to your podcast, I knew this question was coming, and yet I still don't have a definitive answer. But I would say when I started to think about doing my business, I thought that it was just going to always be a side hustle thing because I live alone and I, have my own bills to pay. I live in the most expensive county in the country. And yeah, I know. What a decision. So so for me, I had thought that doing my business part-time was just going to be something I dealt with for years and years and years. And I had to have a full-time, like 9 to 5 job to pay for bills, to have that consistency. And then it was 2024 when my NBA client became captain of his team and I got invited to the ceremony. That morning,
Nice.
I resigned from my teaching job. And I literally walked in. I was a teacher at the time. I told the principal, I was like, I'm resigning and I'm doing my business full time. And it was a really tough decision because you listened on my last podcast. It was while I was living in mold. I was very sick, but I had this stellar NBA client and I still have him that I was like, Julia, you you have money in savings. You're going to make this work. So looking back then, I was like, I was like, no way can we do this full time. And now I have 2 celebrity clients and I've been doing well with having personal train clients and I've been blessed to have all referrals. I haven't really had to do marketing. I mean, I don't do marketing. Um, I have somebody who helps with that, but I just kind of feel like where I'm at right now, it's so surreal to be having 2 celebrities because I didn't even think of that this would happen for me. And now that I'm like, whoa, I'm with one of the top players of the country and I'm doing my business full time and I'm kind of setting my own schedule in a way. And it feels surreal in that where at some point I never thought that I would be able to do this full time because I had a lot of people around be like, how are you going to afford your business? What if clients leave? What if clients like don't stay on? What if you lose your biggest client? And for me, I'm like, well, I'm going to figure it out when that time comes. I have money in my savings. And that's the other thing. Like I'm very smart financially where I will have savings. I'm not just going to take a huge risk like that. But looking back, I would say this is not impossible. Like I didn't think that this was possible. And then to get a second NBA player contracted for a year, it kind of feels surreal in that way. So I would say that that's pretty close to not thinking that it was possible. And now I'm living some part of my dream. And I have so many dreams and so many aspirations and things that I still want to happen. But the fact that I'm doing and running my own business on my own is that time of I'm living the impossible. Yeah.
What was the surreal part of it, or how was the kind of navigating it initially? Because it is something that's so new, so unfamiliar.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say navigating it in the beginning, or even just the surreal aspect was when I was at my client captain ceremony in New York City, August 8th, 2024. I one of my friends dropped me off in the city. I wasn't allowed to tell anybody I was going. It was very hush hush. We weren't allowed to share the news, post, or anything. And I just show up alone. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm at this event. And I had 5 security guards in the elevator go up with me. And I was like, this is so wild. And when I was up there and we all had a reserved seating. So, like, you had a bunch of the camera crews and everything, and me, the chef, and the family are walking towards the reserved seats. I'm just like, this is not real. This is so wild. And the fact that, like, Ben Stiller, I'm not sure if you know of who Ben Stiller is. He's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
American. Okay, okay. He's an American actor, and I went up to him after and his son was there and I was like, "Yeah, I'm Brunson's nutritionist." And he was like his son was like, "What? You work with him? You get to talk to him?" And I was like, "Do you know who your dad is?" Like, I was like, "What is this right now?" So, it was very surreal in that moment where I was just living on a high and, there were other celebrities there. I didn't really talk to them because 'cause they're very, on their own, but I'm just sitting there like, "Wow, this is really my life right now. This is so freaking cool." Like, this is so amazing that I get to be part of it, and I'm not well known to people because it's more private, like, the family's very private who I work with, so I try to respect that, and also I'm like that. I'm also not the person to go around and say, "Hey, I'm this person's nutritionist." Like, I'm just not that person. Um, but going through that experience was just that was the surreal part where I'm like, "Whoa, I'm doing this and, like, I'm living this," and, people are just like they're like, "You're literally with one of the best players in the country, like, you're so lucky, he's a phenomenon, you have no idea, like, what you've done," and I'm like, "Well, I've been blessed to see him where he wasn't big and now he is." So that's the surreal moment. And I know there's going to be a few more moments in my life that are like that, but having to sit on the train alone home, like I left the place, I'm just sitting on the train by myself and I'm like, what just happened? Like what was this? So that I would say is like that surrealness or surreal moment that I had with that. So again, I know more are coming. I know there's more things that I'm going to be stepping into and I'm envisioning it and putting it out there, but it's such a blessing to be on this path and it's not going to be for a long time because it's not how their careers work. So I'm really just trying to enjoy and be grateful for this experience that I have right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting about that kind of, is this my reality right now? But also,
Yeah.
did you have that feeling of I belong here?
It's a good question. I
Because I do think that a lot
I
of people
want
have this like maybe
there.
imposter syndrome of like, oh, like
Yes. Oh,
this.
yes. I mean, you say the imposter syndrome. I think for me, it was I want to be there, and that's what I want to have as my
Mm,
life. I wanna be at that level of being known and spreading kindness and helping people. So, I do I didn't necessarily feel out of place, it was just I didn't know anybody, and
mm.
so that's why I'm like I
It's
mean,
kind of
I knew
like
the
you're able
chef
to
and I
see
knew the
like the
family.
possibilities or kind of,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was more like, wow, one day that could be me and one day I can do that. And that is my hope for a lot of things of just seeing people blossom is like, I can do that too. Like I've been telling myself like, why can't I one day be a Nike athlete? Why can't I one day have my own, produced TV show or why can't I, work with the top celebrities of the country? Like I'm starting to say, why not? Why, I work so hard, but the other factor is, yeah, the imposter syndrome definitely comes about because I did not enter my field in the conventional way of, oh, I'm going. 8 or 16, 17 years old, going to college, making the decision to be in this field. Like it kind of just happened. And I fell into my niche because this is what I'm so passionate about. Originally I went to school for to be a teacher. And I just when I was in the classroom with kids, it wasn't my passion. Like I was like, I don't know how long I could do this. Where now being a nutrition coach, being a personal trainer, doing talks, podcasting, this is what lights my soul up. Like, this is what gives me energy and lights my soul up. And the fact that I can help make a difference in somebody's life, I learned that this was more so my passion around probably 2021. I would say I started to learn this was my passion. Now I'll be 31 this year. And so ever since then, I just did everything part time. And then now I'm living that. And it's so surreal. And thank you for asking that because I get caught up in comparison mode on social media and I get caught up
Yep.
in that where like these people are, you know, they don't even have the personality and they're thriving and it doesn't make sense. How come that's not me? And then my mom actually told me, she's like, your time will come. Your time will come. Your time will come. And it's like the hope that one day that'll be mine, but also enjoying the fact that I kind of get to be behind the scenes of these celebrities' lives
Yep.
and not be in the limelight and just enjoy life where it's like, hey, this is my secret. Like on the side, people are like, oh, what do you do? Well, I have a cool secret job. Like it's on the side. So it's you talk about the imposter syndrome. I mean, for you, like what would this is my podcasting host, what would you define as imposter syndrome?
I think partly it's just that sense that you don't belong, um, which I do think that it kind of comes down to that. Um, like good example, when I was doing more like mindset coaching and work like that, I
Yeah.
started to work with one Olympic athlete, and I was like, why is she working with me? Like, why does she keep coming back? And then like my a friend of mine who is pretty much like been like coaching, mentoring me a lot on
Yeah.
stuff. He was he was pretty much like asking something along the lines of like, why would you even like have that thought? And I'm like, hmm,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I know that for me. And I have done so much reflection even through these conversations that I'm having with people. It's
Yeah.
insanely valuable. Um,
Yeah.
where um, even with the Graham's episode that recently came out with kind of decision making, or I would share with him about when I was playing basketball, I probably was like very, very, like I was very high level because I would wake up at 5 a.m. every day, do my own workouts throughout the year. I didn't like,
Yeah.
I was just on point. But when I would go to the national team tryouts, I went in with mindset of like, oh, there's no point to try. I'm not going to get in. And I wasn't able to see how good I was.
Mm.
And that's where it's kind of like, it's fascinating to me that kind of how we form the perception of ourselves. Because I think a lot of times when you're somebody who is high performer, you can be so self-critical to the point where you're detrimental to yourself and your progress. Because like you get in your way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it has to be perfect. It's not perfect. I can't do it, or whatever is the case, where you don't see how good you're actually doing, and you don't like it's
Mm.
like interesting thing that has been happening to me lately, which is partly why I'm getting very like into doing this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like with this
Yeah.
podcast, I want to do more like kind of talking to this generation or like people up to 35, kind of younger
Yes.
people. And within the last 7-10 days, I had probably at least 5 encounters with strangers, just like random people come up to me, we have conversation. Never
Yeah.
happens to me. Like never happens to me. And we have conversation, or somebody would ask me something about like their life, or somebody asked me something like they saw that I have like half Ironman bag, and they would ask me about Ironman. Mind you, I have been wearing that bag like 2 years.
Ah,
Like
interesting.
rarely somebody comes up to me and starts conversation. Where through those conversations, I was able to see how much of kind of what I know and what I can add is actually needed. So it kind of was like I keep getting
Yeah.
signs of like you need to get out there, you need to share what you need to share because people
Mhm.
need this. They're not even that they need it, but they're seeking out the answers. They're looking for solutions.
Yeah.
And and then I think Also, what Graham said in the episode, that was something that I found interesting because we were talking, I think, also about the imposter syndrome with
Mhm.
his speaking, because with speaking, there's another layer where if you fail, everybody sees. So like you can't kind of,
Yeah.
and you're now like, oh, like you
Yeah.
probably have experiences with that as well, where it's like, and
Yes.
I like what he said, that instead of focusing on being good, focus on being useful. It's kind of like you
Mm.
focus on adding value, you focus on being useful, and
Sure.
whether you're good or not, that's not actually for you to judge. It's kind of for other people, and different people will have different opinions based on the information that, or the background they have, experience they have, and all that. Where
Yeah.
it's, I have had so many interesting conversations recently that are really putting things
Yeah.
in perspective for me, because I would be like, oh, I'm just like, I'm the bottleneck here. I'm making things harder for myself, and also I'm starting to see how much there's actually that I can add already,
Yeah.
because with having very high standards, it's like you don't see what you have gained. You just see what's the gap from where you want
Left.
to be.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna unpack a few things of that,
Yeah,
right?
go ahead, go ahead.
So
Let's talk it.
the one thing I was gonna say, I wonder if it's like an energy healing, right? You're healing yourself, so you're calling upon different people, but
Yeah, definitely something has
it's
changed. Yeah,
it's an energy healing because I do that myself. I've noticed that certain positions, actually I'll share with you this, a client who, this girl, she really, really, really wants to work with me. And um for me, it was tough because I really do want to help her. My time though is very limited. Her budget and my budget are very different. And I sent her I tried to give her a discount, work with her, and I never heard back from her. And I'm like, it might be because of, that budget. But then I was speaking to my friend and he's like, Julia, your goal is to work with celebrities, right? And I said, yeah. And he's like, so you're going to have to say no, even to people you really, really want to help, because it's in our nature,
I think that's such a
Astra,
hard thing to
that
do.
we want to
Yeah,
help. And
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
so bad because this girl was like, she shared her whole life story with me on the phone. She felt so comfortable with me. She had prayed on working with me and stuff. And she might find a way to come around and pay, but I've come to a point where I'm like, you're right. Like, I have to hold my standard if I'm trying to work my way up. I can't be like, well, let me discount and budget and do this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just to help you. Let me sacrifice myself and my time to do that. So this was a huge learning lesson for me that happened recently. And it is an energy shift that I'm going through. I noticed that with friends. I noticed that with my peers, conversations I have, and how much more intentional certain conversations are. Yes, I'm still not great with the surface level convos of like people, hey, how's it going? Oh, the weather outside. Like, that's like basic surface level. It's so stupid that like I'll talk about that. But then there's some people where it's like if it's my second or third conversation with them, I'm like, well, how was your daughter's school last week when she threw a fit and stuff like we get really in depth with conversation because people feel more and more comfortable to share stuff with me.
I do that
And
conversation one. Like,
one, you're like, no, no, no. Conversation one. How's your family? How's this? So
I think a
for
lot
me,
of it is like even making the person, I find it fascinating because I have had people where on the first meeting they share their,
yeah,
similar to you, like the
yeah,
whole life
whole life
story,
story.
trauma is like something that they have said to
Yep.
literally nobody. And
Yeah.
I think, and I have been thinking a lot about this because I'm like, huh, why is it that you, like, what was it about me that made you open up, like,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
share? And there's several things that I have understood, which by the way, it's such a simple thing. It's kind of feels ridiculous that there's so many people that don't have the safe space, but that's the world we live
Yeah.
in, where it's kind of like you approach it initially, it's judgment versus curiosity. So instead of like whatever they share, it's like instead of judging it whether it's good, bad, right, wrong, you gather information, you're curious. Tell me more. Like, and my perspectives and opinions, they don't matter. I'm a blank page. So if I think it's right or not, it doesn't matter because I'm
Yeah.
trying to understand you. And then by the time I have gathered enough information, there's actually nothing to judge because I understand you. It's like,
Mm,
oh, makes sense. You think like this because of this, or like you're doing
yeah,
this because of that. Makes sense. There's nothing to judge. And just have that compassion where it's like you don't always need to fix everything. Even though I like to do that and come up with solutions, but it's like it's
I
not
think it's in
always
our nature. I think it's in
yeah,
our
it's not
nature, girl.
always the time or the space. But
Yeah,
sometimes it's helpful to just give people space to just share. And and that's really all they need. Like but it's
it's
something
true.
that I feel we're so self-centered, which I think a lot of it comes back to social media, and it has made us very self-centered where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
and I have talked so much about this, how I feel even kindness now, it's like instead of just doing an act of kindness, you do the act of kindness and then you post about it and you literally make it about you. Instead of
mm,
just do the right thing. Like it doesn't have to be
yeah,
self-promotional thing where like, oh, I helped this person out. It's sometimes you can just help out and not to announce it to the world. Just,
hmm,
do the act of kindness and trust the ripples. Like they will
yeah,
happen. But I
yeah.
agree with what you said about the energy. Like I definitely have, I even have worked more on, and I think we touched on it in our
We
conversation,
did, we did.
um,
Yeah,
about being more open to receiving, where I was like, oh, I think I'm pretty closed off from like, I literally wrote actually
me
I
too.
wrote down from listening to your note to self, be more
Yeah,
open to life. Kind of the thought being that I think that a lot of times we get so closed off that opportunities and experiences and all these kind of things, they actually are already here. We just don't see them. We're closed
yeah,
off. Same thing with those interactions.
mm,
They have always been there, but something in me, the way I would kind of operate or the energy, everything,
yeah,
like I was just not somebody that people would approach. And I didn't change from like one day to another as like the person, the way I look, the way I dress, or anything like
yeah.
that. But something in the way that I am changed.
Shifted.
And now like people start, and it was literally like within literally a week, it's like one interaction, another one, another one. I'm like, what is happening?
It's good though, like, the fact that you're open to receiving and you're aware of it, because that's the first step is awareness, and I
Yeah,
tell people that all the time, even with coaching. They were like, "Oh, well, I notice I eat poorly." I'm like,
so that
"Clap
right
to
there.
you because you're aware of it." That is the first step. So when people are aware something needs to change, that you can work with somebody like that. Somebody that is not aware that they have to change and you imposing on it them on it, they're not going to be as I don't think they're going to be as open to it. You had said something also. There's a couple notes I'd written
Yeah, yeah,
down
go
that
ahead. We're
um
like deep,
when
deep
I
diving.
know we're doing I love it though. I love it though. Keep the
Same.
conversation going. So you had said I want to highlight the energy aspects and work and imposter syndrome and go back to that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I struggle with imposter syndrome because I've had 2 jobs in my life that were really hard to get. Actually 3 that were
Okay.
really hard to get. And I was told all 3 times I was a personality hire.
Mm,
And that rubbed me the wrong way because I'm like, am I just here because my personality? Like, I can do a great job, right? Like, and that was the hard thing that I had this one job, this one toxic job, um, that I worked for this company for 2 years. I had 40 clients in the program, and they sent out behind my back, I found this out. They sent out a review, your coach, me, review Julia, and tell us your honest feedback about how she is as a coach. And this is like a year into the program. And everybody sent back 5 stars. Every single person sent back 5 stars, said all positive things. So I never learned about it, but somebody in the HR department told me about it. So they were like, behind your back, this was done to see if you're actually a good coach. And I'm like, because they had said they wanted me for my personality. So now I'm in question that even some of the roles I'm in today, people had verbally said
I
you
can
were
challenge
hired
you
for
on
your
that.
personality. Go ahead, challenge me.
I
Because
want to challenge you on that.
that's my imposter syndrome is, damn, I'm being hired for my personality. You didn't even want to see if I have the credentials or anything.
Yeah. I think first thing is that I have gone through exactly the same thing. So
Okay. All right. All
I
right.
literally,
Cool. Go on. Go on about it.
I literally had a conversation with somebody who recently, like, I reached out with being like, "Hey, I'm trying to figure out kind of what to do with my business, what to do with my life, kind of get more clarity." And he was on my podcast, and I was asking, and I was like, "I don't know if you can agree or not." I'm like, "Okay, let's practice asking for help. It's not easy. Um, let's stop trying to figure everything out by ourselves." So I messaged him being like, "Would you be open to like jump on a call, give your insights, stuff like that?" And he was like, "Well, at this point, you might as well ask me to be your coach. Yeah, let's do it," kind of thing. And I'm like, "Yay!" and and we had this conversation where he asked me this very interesting question because I was like, I would be stuck in like when it comes to like work with like the podcasting things like that, I would be so stuck in like I have to be able to guarantee the result for the people that I work with.
Yeah.
Instead of
Okay.
focusing on the gain, I would be focusing, I have to guarantee like this amount and all this kind of stuff.
Mm,
And he was telling me like he has this very good question. He was like, so with people that you work with, because I had written in my notes that, but at the same time, people that I have worked with, they literally come back to me like for years. Like some of them are like three,
yeah.
4 years. And
That's me right
yeah,
now
and
too.
he was telling me, so, and I will ask you the same question. It's such a good question. It really
Okay.
made me think afterwards as well. He was asking me, so when is the last time or what's the service that you have used yourself that you go back to literally
Mm,
like several
yeah.
years
Yeah.
that you use it? And in my
Oh, I
case,
can
I
tell
was
you right
like,
now. Yeah.
either it's like, what is your answer?
I have a coach in Australia that I have not let go. She's been with me for since 2021. Do I need her? No. Do I know what to do? Yep, she knows. But it's more so to have I love her energy and her response and her character. And she's my health and wellness coach. I necessarily need her? No, because I know literally do it for all clients myself. But she's hey, I have this thought. Can I bounce it off of you?
Yeah,
And she's
so
like, yeah, sure.
she's not a skill set hire. Like and I think that's something that a lot of
No.
times we can I literally was thinking about it before this recording, where how important is that the personality and your energy, because a lot of people, they are drawn to you for who you are. And
Mm,
the skills that is just like everybody can learn a skill. That's actually the easy part. Like if you
mm,
think about it, you just put in the reps, you go through and you build a skill. But being certain like energy, having certain like values, certain way you show up, that's not easy to find. Even with people, friends,
mm.
friends and your like peers,
You're right.
like it's not easy to find them. But then once you like, especially when you're a certain way, I know that for me, even like when we connected, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my person. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it
Oh, I
instantly
know.
stands out.
I'm so energized. Before this call, I was like, "Ah," and then I hopped on. I'm like, okay, it's good. She'll make me feel better. We're good. So very, very much so. We got to do this like every other month or something. We got
I
to
was
have this
thinking about it. We need to make this like a regular
crazy.
thing.
Right. Even on our podcast, I'd love to have you on my podcast. I'll be on yours every month. We could do a girl
Yeah,
talk. So
we will figure something out, because I think that this is a
it is.
beginning of like something very cool.
Oh, it
Like
is. It is.
I can, and that's kind of
Yeah.
the point there is that how many people do you engage with on
Yeah.
day-to-day basis, where
True.
rarely you meet somebody that really stands out, but when they do stand out, you're like, oh, that's my person.
Yeah.
And I think that's where
So true.
personality hire, it can feel like, yeah, but at the same time, that's like one of the biggest compliments you can get, because many people, they get
Mm.
hired just for the skill. Literally all
And
they have is skill.
you know the quote that I had said, you can teach somebody skills, you can't teach them attitude.
Yep.
You can teach anybody, sure, you need to learn how to do Excel. I'll teach you that, no problem, but you have the attitude for it. I used to hire people 10 years ago when I worked in higher education. I would hire staff members and do interviews and stuff like that. And there was one girl that was there. She was not well qualified, but that girl was as positive and determined as possible, where I'm like,
Yep.
I could teach her. I want her. I could teach her. She is teachable. So because I'd rather hire, I don't care if you're the most skilled person in the world, if you have the crappiest attitude and you're so negative, I'd rather the person who is semi-great, not as great, but they're semi-great and they're willing to do whatever it takes to be the best.
Yeah, and that takes personality because for
Yeah.
you to be coachable, you have to have awareness because you will need
Yeah.
to have be able to handle ego checks, be willing to learn, be willing to be proactive. There's so many things that go under that to be
Yeah.
coachable. And many people they're just too stuck in their ways, especially once you get to certain skill set level where now you think
Yeah.
you're the shit. Like you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I have said it to like people that are close to me. If it gets too much in my head, call me out
Yeah.
because I don't want to get to that
Oh, I
place.
have
But
friends like
also,
that too. I say
yeah,
that.
but also like I
Yeah.
can think I'm this person who is immune to all these like reactions that can come as you get more successful. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been there. So
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna respond. So that's why I
Yeah.
have people that like if needed they will they
It'll
will tell
put
what
you
I
in
need to
place.
hear.
Damn. Well, it's definitely good to have those people, and I think it's important for all of us to have at least that fact check. I think, or not fact check, but like humble approach. And I would say that for sure is my mom. My mom will be like, she's like, great job with your guys, doing well. She's like, I'm like, yeah, and she's like, no, stay grounded, stay humble, stay grounded, stay humble. And I'm like, I am humble and I am grounded. And she's like, no, you need to stay grounded, like kind of in the fact with teaching. When I was still a teacher, I was telling her, I'm like, I think I want to do my business. She's like, no, you need to stay humble, stay grounded, stay where you're at, stay this. And I think from her own insecurities and her own like business, she was nervous of me doing my business full time
Yeah, of
because
course.
her business shifted because of technology and things. So she does her business full time. I mean, part time, and she's a full time teacher. So like her business is part time, and her business was once full time, and then it had to shift to part time, and she had to take a full time job on. So it really can change. And you had said a point earlier about the world when people will see you win, but they're a lot harder on you when you fail, or like they check in, oh, this didn't happen. This, you said this was coming out, it did not happen. I'm very much a person who I will tell my close friends a project or thing I'm working on, and then I'll put it out. Like my book that I have out, the 7 plus lifestyle from years ago, I literally wrote it behind the scenes for 2 years, and I had one of my friends, an older friend. She's like, "I didn't even know you were writing a book." I was like, "Yeah, but it's out. Go ahead and pre-order it. It's out. Like, go get it." And for her, or for me hearing that was like, I'm I also struggle with this, and I've had girlfriends call me out. They're like, "You are so much about not wanting to disappoint or not stick to your timeline that when you celebrate a goal, you're like, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? What's next? I wrote a book. Cool. Great. Did a little book tour. Great. Cool. What's next? Next book, next project, even my academy that I spent about 9 months building an academy online that I still want to work on. And I took a hiatus from it. I'm like, we're not doing this right now. My desire to work on it was, I just felt like it turned into being a checklist instead of something I wanted to
Yeah,
do. Spent 9 months doing my academy, paused, like, and this was back last year. And I was like, you know what? The academy, why are you rushing to get this academy out? You can launch it in 5 years' time with much more information, much more stuff, and maybe you'll have a greater following so people will buy it. I
not
shifted
maybe.
gears to work I shifted my gears to work on my app, and
Yeah,
my Best Life by You app that's become my baby. And when I tell you, I spend any free moment on that, it's been something that excites me so much. Last night I finished clients at 8:30, and I was working till like 10 o'clock on my app, like uploading all pictures for my recipes.
yeah. I saw like
I
100
created I
pictures or
created yeah,
something like that.
yeah, and then I started a community board in my app where people can cheer each other on. They could share wins with the community of people who are in the app. So I'm working to build more of a community. Eventually I want to have like community calls once a month, do like, hey, what are your wins? What are your goals for the next month? And do it that way so people have a community. I'm not coaching them. It's not a coaching call. It's just, hey, I'm offering this space. Let's hold each other accountable, share those goals, share those wins in case you don't have somebody to share that with. So I've been so excited about my app in that respect where it's not, I only have like, I've only had 3 people purchase it since January, and that's okay. That's really okay because it's still growing a lot. But with it, and I'm not hard on myself in that respect because I know it will grow in time, but it's just something I'm so excited about. And so my academy last year, I was so adamant about in 2024 to 2025, I was so adamant. My academy's coming out next year. I on Instagram, I was posting things. Spring 2026, my academy will be out for purchase. This will be out. And then I paused and I'm like, I don't the drive, the passion, it's not there right now. And not everything is going to have passion, not everything, but I wanted to take a hiatus from it because I want it to be something that I put all my energy into proudly and am confident in the material instead of just getting it done. So it's one of those things that and all my friends would be like, you didn't fail with that, Julie. You're still gonna launch it. Cause they know whatever goal I set, I'm on it and I'm gonna make it happen. It just the academy, I'm like, okay, all those posts I did, it is what it is. I'm gonna step back from it. My academy, maybe it'll come out in 2030. Doesn't whatever happens, I've let go of the expectation for things like that and am focusing my energy on one, healing myself, which I've been doing, like working with a coach, working with a mentor. I have 2 different people who help me. And then focusing on setting a schedule that I feel good with, where I'm not my nervous system isn't like all over the place. There are days like that, but I really want to be intentional about having Saturday evenings and Sundays off. And that's something I've been really working hard to have. Saturdays at 3 p.m. I shut down and I'm hanging with friends, whatever. Sunday is very chill if I really need to do something. So I'm trying to shift I am shifting, not trying. I am shifting my priorities to also be okay if things do not happen on the timeline I want and say, well, it wasn't meant to be. It's okay. It wasn't meant to be on this timeline. So that
I
was
think with
something
this,
that,
like,
yeah,
well, there's several things, but the first thing that came in my mind was last year I was thinking to do Ironman, the full one.
yeah.
And
Oh my
as
God.
it was like probably 5, 6 months until the race. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. I have basketball and it's like a lot and the whole endurance, it's like it's a different sport. Like
Yeah.
it's just like so much. And I wrote to my friend about it, where I'm like, oh, I don't know, like there's only this many months and blah blah. And he just asked me this question, like, do you know that you want to progress towards it? I'm like, yeah. So you know that
Yeah.
you would want to do it eventually. I'm like, yeah. Well, then that's
Yeah.
what matters, that you progress towards
Mm,
it. Like it
yeah.
doesn't like we just I've, and I have seen this so much with myself, where we set this timeline, like this has to be done by then, and it's like, and if
Yeah.
it doesn't, now I'm a
What
failure. It's
happens?
like nothing really happens. Like I
No.
had I had the same thing with this podcast. I literally
Yeah.
had, like, I went through the shame spiral because
Yeah.
I had
Oh,
episode recorded with Graham a year ago,
yeah.
and it's not out yet. And or like now it's out, but like it wasn't out
Yeah.
when he would reach out to me. Where kind of similar to you, what happened was I felt like I started to do it for the checklist. I'm like, oh, I'm helping like people with their podcast, so I need to make sure I do my own podcast and and it just didn't
Yeah.
feel aligned. And I was still kind of only in the last 3 4 months I have really dialed in what I want this to be about, and
Yeah.
I feel much more kind of confident to step into that.
Yeah.
And the whole time I would be like, "Ah, I feel guilty and da da da." And I did start
Yeah.
like the wisdom in action, so that became like a thing where like I do enjoy that one. And it felt like wisdom in action feels a bit less personal, maybe. This one feels like
Mhm.
this is my
Conversation.
passion. where like I
Yeah.
want, I see so much that I can add to this like generation, even through conversations I'm trying to have.
Mhm.
Guests that I have on now, I'm trying to look for more people that are from this generation, and we're just
Yeah.
talking like, how do you navigate life? Like, what
Yeah.
are your challenges? You know, like we just talk,
Yeah.
um, and others can listen in, and then they can kind of one get reassurance that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to figure it out. Like we all have
Yeah.
different kind of challenges, and even like with KJ that I had on, we were talking, like initially the idea was to talk, we talked only about it last 15 minutes, that you don't have to start a business to be successful,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
that's the
yes, I did
message.
hear that one. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
something that I think it's just, just looking for different people that I can get on from different kind of careers, experiences
Yep.
that are like driven, ambitious, and kind of like people like us, where I know that for me, I felt so alone, where I was like, nobody gets me.
Yep.
I feel like I'm the weird one out, but also a lot of things that I do that
Yes.
make sense to me. Like,
Yes.
it was so frustrating to
Yes.
go through that, where I'm
Yeah.
grateful that I kind of stayed true to myself, where I was like, I don't see a point to go and like party. I
Yeah.
don't know
Same
why it
way.
has never drawn, like that
Don't say I
lifestyle
don't know
has never.
why. It's your gut is telling you that it's not. I'm the
Yeah,
same
like
way.
I knew it's not for me. Like that was kind of what it was. Like I knew it's not for me. But I'm glad that I didn't kind of go with peer pressure and live that lifestyle. I would
Mhm.
rather do my own thing, wake up at 5 a.m. and just stick to that. And I'm very glad that I did that.
Yeah.
But it's something that I know there's a lot of people out there who are in that space right now, and they feel like there's nobody that gets them, and they feel like
Yeah.
it. I would be in this weird feeling where it's like it seems like everybody around you communicates that something is wrong with you, but also you're like,
I
I
feel
feel
that
like a lot
way.
of things that I'm doing, they're making a lot of sense, because I would be like, go to sleep early, wake up early, do exercise.
Mhm.
I would be learning, I would be reading books, watching videos, courses, all this kind of stuff where I'm like, I'm trying to improve, get better, and help others along
Mhm.
the way. I was like, what am I like? Why am I the weird one?
You're
Like,
not. What did I
yeah,
say last? I said on my podcast, you were born to stand out, not fit in. Like, why try to fit in
yeah.
if you were born to stand out?
Yeah, but
I
at that
100%
moment, that's
with
how you
you.
feel. You feel
It's
like,
true.
because
Oh, it's
people
true.
would, they still call me crazy, and I'm like, oh, thanks. No, it's a
Say
compliment.
it louder, say it louder. That's but it's, I was gonna say for you touched on a few points that I wrote down. So, one, it's I guess pick and choose your battles, right? And your places. So, for example, I'm not sure if I shared this with you on the podcast, but I had a foundation event a couple months ago. Everybody there, very high-end elite people, were all drinking. And I don't typically drink. I don't eat at events because I'm also vegan, have tons of
Yeah.
allergies. So I don't eat at events. I don't. And so when everybody was there with alcohol in their hand, I was just like, "Oh, I feel like I need to have like just in my hand or something because everybody has it." And so I went over, I got a drink, I took a few sips of it. I'm not against alcohol, but it's just I rarely drink. It's not my cup of tea. I don't want to do that Saturday nights. Don't care to go to a bar Saturday nights. Sometimes I like to just dress up and feel pretty and look good, take pictures and go home. Like I'm like, can I just take pictures and skip the going out part? And so I was at the event and I was holding a drink and I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to do that. You don't have to go get drunk. You don't have to do that. Like, just for some social things, because I've learned it's easier to not have to explain yourself, to be like, no, I'm not drinking. Why are you not drinking? Are you on this? And I'm like, I don't even want to say it. So let me just hold the alcohol, which for me, it depends on energy. What energy do I have to spend explaining myself or network with people? I'd rather spend time networking with people than take away energy having to explain myself as to why I don't have a drink in my hand or this. Like, not to say people would judge, but that has happened before. And I don't want my energy is my choice. I'm also something that I was one of my friends who's very intuitive. He's older. And he and his wife and I went out to dinner. And he was like, I don't know if you know this. He's like, you are the best code switcher I've ever met in my life. And I was like, code switcher? What does that even mean? And he was like, you can go from talking to a kid, this, going right back into conversation, go turn to somebody, tell them, you're not doing that, stop, turn back. And your emotions, he's like, you wouldn't even know you were just yelling or crying or anything. And it was so interesting to me to hear that because then it was like a light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, holy crap, I am. Like, I code switch all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I would teach fitness classes. I'd be like, go through a breakup, crying in the bathroom, wipe my face. No one would know anything was wrong. No one.
Yeah.
No one know.
Yeah.
No one know that you just pissed me off. No one would know anything that happened. And there is a power that comes with code switching. And he was just like, that is a hidden talent of yours that you can literally like go into, go from here to here, no problem. And I think it comes from years of theater and having to do theater, did Broadway camps. I think it's like an actor thing of like doing that. But I've noticed that more and more and more how much on a daily basis I am code switching. And it's I don't know if it's something that people, you can definitely work on it and challenge and work on it, but part of me was thinking, I'm like, how do I use this to my advantage? Like, now that I could code switch, I'm like, how do I use this ability that somebody called out that I didn't even know I had? I didn't even know I had until he called it out. And I'm like, wow, how do I practice this more and more? So when it came to um like listening to other people, it's so interesting because I'm very selective in what I actually hear and let in from other people, not hear, what I let in from other people. And this was a question I was going to ask you very, very early on is, do you think that imposter syndrome and things that we say of our skills and things that we're bad at come from other people? Like, where does that come from? Do you think it came from a comment somebody said or parents or whatnot? Because for me, when he said that about code switching, he was like, it's a superpower. And then it made me feel really good because I'm like, whoa, you pointed this out and I feel really good. And now I'm going to be more aware and take it as an advantage and practice it where like I would have never thought that of myself. And I've been developing confidence in who I am and how I perform and how I go about. So it's, yeah, I ask you that because do you think any kind of doubtfulness about yourself or imposter syndrome or anything came from other people? And where does it come from?
I don't know if it's from others or for us, but I know that it stems in comparison initially. Like for
Mhm.
me,
Yeah.
I would have this weird fear of being seen running because I was like, I'm not good enough.
Mm.
I don't even know how you're supposed to look when you're running, but I was like, I'm not it. Like, I didn't even know what's the right way. And
Just not the dinosaur hands.
yeah, like
Just not the dinosaur.
I don't even
That's
know.
that's it.
And because like I was even thinking, where is this kind of this belief that I'm bad at running coming from? Because like
Yeah,
I would
it's
have it
true.
very early. I had it very early on. Like one that I was thinking of was like in basketball camps, I usually would be at the end, but then on the basketball
Mhm.
court, and I would do this thing where I got called out on it with my current team, where I would tell like, yeah, I'm not actually that fast. I just read the situation well, so I'm just like quicker to move, kind of in the right spot. I just do it
Okay.
earlier instead of faster. I
Yeah,
just do it earlier because I read the game well. Um,
yeah,
and then like one person would be like, well, but like you're also like you are able to move like well, like speed wise. And I'm like, fair point. Like it's and for me that was the
yeah.
reason why I started to wake up at 5 a.m. because there was nobody out, so I could go for a run. Like that literally it went that far. All the
Wow.
like I would have like the body shame, the way I would look, I would feel like I'm fat, ugly, clumsy. Three things. Like I would just like feed that belief. And partly it was coming from a
And
friend of
you're
mine.
none of those things. You're none of those things.
Yeah, and I lived into the fat because I think I had such a strong belief that and also for me I would have binge eating. So like that was something that was kind
Okay.
of like my
Okay.
go-to regulating tool.
Okay.
which also took me forever to even like admit that to myself, where I was like, I don't want to
Yeah.
put any titles on myself. And it's like, okay, I get that. But also it's like, let's look into it, because the more you understand, the more you can like resolve um, and heal.
Yeah.
Big part of it was healing.
Yeah.
But I think partly it is what others tell to us that we learn about ourselves early on. But then also it's us
Mm,
interacting with the world and comparing ourselves with the world. And I think it
yeah.
also depends on the level of awareness, because I was very aware, like very early on, where I would see that like I would struggle, and I was like the A student. I would struggle to raise my hand and read the answer, even though
Mm,
I knew it's right. But I was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I hope they don't call on me. Like, what if like there would be always this deep
Fear.
underlying like not being good enough, or yeah, like fear of like being seen as like incompetent or whatever. Like I don't know where exactly it came from, because I don't think it was necessarily something that was fed to me, but also it can be something that I observed from people around me.
Mhm.
So I think it really depends on the situation, but the only thing that came to me was that whether it's internal or external, but the key to it is the comparison to others. Because if I compare myself just to myself, or I just focus on kind of just getting the skills, getting better, I don't really feel like an
Yeah.
imposter, because I'm like, oh, what's the next kind of baby goal? And what's the next
Mhm.
milestone I need to check off? And I just focus on that, instead of like, where is this milestone in comparison to everybody else who might be like 20
Mhm.
years ahead of me?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so that's kind of, what do you think it is?
Yeah, for me, my own personal experience is, and maybe this is where the humbleness comes. So I struggle in my position because I'm a certified nutrition coach, and I've been doing that. I've done probably about 4 years worth of education, right, for it, but I do not have the title as a registered dietitian. Do I want to be a registered dietitian? No, I don't want to do that because I don't want to do the clinical work, the blood work. I would rather work with a dietitian to tell me, oh, this client is deficient in this, 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 and this is what we prescribe. And I help them longevity wise. That is what I'd rather do. But being in the position where I am, people tend to say, how did you get that without being, how are you so good? And how are you, in the position you are being, not being a registered dietitian and just a nutrition coach? And I'm like, I've been blessed and I also work my butt off and I know what I'm talking about. Like I know what I'm doing. And I need to remind myself, this is where I also go into that I went to school originally for education, English literature education. This is over 10 years ago. And I will honestly tell you, I was not great with the subject. I did it because I didn't really know what else to do. I didn't know what I was passionate about. I was passionate about theater at the time. And I'm like, what's the closest thing to theater? Oh, I guess I want to be a teacher. I don't know. I'm 17 years old. Sure. And I will tell you, I was not great. Even though students think I was great, I think it was the personality behind it. Half the things I'm like, they were like, what is the ethos of this? And I'm like, that's a great question. I don't know. And I'm sitting there because you want to know why? Because I wasn't passionate about it. I spent years in education doing something I was not passionate about. And I have a degree. I can easily get a job. I can say, yeah, I'm a certified teacher of New York State, which is actually the hardest in the country to get that certification. Hardest state to get an education to get that. And yeah, I have this degree in this. Am I great at it? Nope. But I have a degree in it. So I struggle with that of the comparison of like, I have this degree in education and a master's in administration. And yet I'm great at admin stuff, but like and running and stuff. But I'm like, if I look back now, I would have went for nutrition science and I would have went for like 10 years ago, 10 years time. I would have went, started college, knowing what I know now in nutrition science, and probably would have gone down that route, maybe for a registered dietitian. But knowing what I know now, I am like, I don't necessarily want that. I love being the coach that I am. I like being a coach and I like working with a team of people and not having the full responsibility of being in charge of like blood work because I don't care to do blood work or diagnoses. I'd rather help people after they know their diagnoses of taking care of their health. So that is where the imposter syndrome I struggle with. That's where I always struggle and have been struggling. And I'm like, okay, what can I do next to prove myself? And I constantly feel like I need to prove where I'm at and who I am
Yeah.
because I don't hold a certain title. And I feel like I do need to constantly prove who I am. So now I'm like, oh, do I go get board
You have
certified
the
health
proof
and
though.
wellness coach?
People keep coming back to you and they're high level people that keep coming. That's all the proof you need. Like
Yeah,
it's I
yeah,
feel like
it's true.
we just get so stuck in that like all you need to have like I myself I can't call myself sports psychologist. I have only
Yeah,
bachelor's. Like I can't
yeah,
legally call myself sports
yeah,
psychologist. Yet I have worked with athletes and Olympic level athletes.
yeah,
Did they
yeah,
care about my paper? No, they care about the
yeah.
work we do and that is helpful for them. That's really what people
And the
care about.
results.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and also the like I think that like personality, the person you are, it does play a big role in people coming back as well. But like if you're shit at
yeah,
what you're doing, they're not going to come back. So like you
yeah,
can't just rely on one or the other. And also paper doesn't mean skill. Like
yeah,
I spent 4 years in sports psychology. I probably I probably apply more in coaching work that I do from life experiences than I
yeah.
do from the research that I have looked at. Like it's
Mm,
like I would
sure.
rarely be like, oh, in this paper, like this, like I wouldn't
Yeah,
like that. That can be helpful insight for me, but then when I work with a person, a lot of it was actually coming from my personal experiences,
yeah,
and that
same,
makes you much more
same.
like relatable, and it makes people feel like also like they're less alone. And like I would have because I had this interesting question that I asked one of my clients. I was asking her like, so with the work that we did, um did you she said that she liked that kind of in the way that I would communicate or the way we would work, that I would share some of my experiences or things like that. And she felt like it felt like she's talking like we're equals. It's not like I'm above you. We're equals, and I'm just like few steps
Yeah,
ahead or like sharing things that can be beneficial for you.
yeah,
And I was asking her like, would that get in your way of seeing me as like authority within what we're working with? Because that would be my assumption if we're like buddy buddy, not that we were, but like kind of if that's the
yeah,
energy, you're not going to take me seriously. Like I need to be like this, like the professional.
yeah,
Um and she was like, no, actually, like it was more helpful because then I don't feel like not necessarily intimidated, but like talked down on. And the other thing I had was I had started to post like content online as a coach, and one of my friends, I remember, like he said, "Oh, you're actually funny." Just like conversation we had, I throw a joke or something, and it made me stop being like, "Yeah." And then I started to think, because the way I would post stuff online, I was just like, for you to get better, you need to do this. You need to kind of like, I was
yeah,
just like professional, serious person.
yeah,
But then in the calls with clients, we're having fun. Like we're like, a
yeah.
lot of it is, it's not this like, okay, like, like some of the work is serious, of course, but the energy itself,
Mhm.
it's not like, you don't want, like self development is not easy. You don't want to make it harder by being this like, the whole time. You might
Yeah,
as well just like enjoy the
so
journey.
true.
And that made me reflect because I was like, oh, I need to be this person. But I think just like a lot of it is distinguishing what's some kind of societal pressure or expectations and what the actual reality. Because if you were not
Yeah,
good, people would not come back to you. Like
true.
it's literally as
You wouldn't have,
simple.
and that's something I think about. I have now from clients, I think 66 or 67 five-star Google reviews, all testimonies written.
Yeah, look at that.
And
Read
I'm
that.
like, "I need to remember that."
Yeah.
I'm like, "I need to remember that." And, like, that's not even half the clients I've
Yep.
had. There's, like, 100 reviews that are not written there, and my NBA guys have not written reviews either. So, like, I don't think they legally could tie their name to a brand or something, whatever. But I'm like, this is like, I have the reviews, I have the proof that I've helped transform and helped coach. And like, that's what I'm known as a coach. And like, I'm specialized with plant based nutrition, right? And like that, I could talk about all day. You can't shut me up about nutrition. But I also talk about the habits and lifestyle and mental wellness that go into it that like people don't necessarily think about. And for you as well, I wonder, both of us sometimes, somebody actually said, they're like, you guys are probably better than the top notch people because you're always trying to get better to get to that top notch position. And sometimes I think of that. Sometimes I'm like, it's true. I'm always learning. Going for my birthday weekend, I'm going to a conference, an educational plant based conference with all top doctors in the country and the
Yep.
nation to learn. And that's what I'm doing for my birthday weekend. And I'm like, that sounds so fun. I want to do
Yep.
that. I don't want to go drinking. I want to go to that.
Yeah, that's your kind
So
of
one of
fun.
my clients is, that's it. That is,
Yep.
it's my kind of fun. So when I look at that, I'm like, how do I constantly educate myself and get in conversations where my education is tested and my how I explain things is tested. And going on podcast yesterday, Steph, I was on his, or Monday, whatever today's Monday, I was on Steph's podcast, and he was like, can you tell me the carnivore diet versus the vegan and why the vegan diet is better? And I'm like, well, do you want testimonials or do you want actually evidence-based science and with testimonials? And I'm like, because we have a lot more proof on one of them than the other one that hasn't been studied. And I'm not a person that is going to make anybody feel bad about what they're doing and the choices they're making. I'm going to simply educate them on what they can do or what the science is and try it out. Okay, maybe you're feeling really hungry. Let's up that fiber a little bit. See how you feel with that. And yes, I am 100% plant-based and I have been, and that's also the lonely factor. I talk about very lonely. Like being a woman of faith and then being vegan on top of that, it is a very lonely journey because I do get left out a lot. Left out and like people do not consider me. Not I have some great friends who do, but then there's some who are just like, "Oh yeah, I don't have food for you. Yeah, you came to my party. I don't have this." And like there's been a lot of times I think that I'm the difficult one. I'm like, "Well, that's okay. I'm the difficult one. I'm the one that has the difficult things."
I have gone
So
to
I have to
parties
keep
with
up with that.
like with my like team gets together. I know there will be like some food I don't, especially when I'm doing 75 hard. I just bring my own
Yeah,
food. Like at this point, I'm
yeah,
like, or I remember I would go to like when I was working in office. I would always bring my own
yeah,
food, and there was one
yeah,
guy who was always like, "Oh, you're eating your rabbit food," and I'm like, "Yeah, like that.
yeah,
That's what I do. I meal prep." Like, and in UK, it's
yeah,
not really that often. Like, there's so much like fast food and things like that where he would
yeah,
go to McDonald's, and I'm like,
yeah.
for me, I was just like, I think with time, with you being like the weird one, you just get used to it. Where it's kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
like, yeah,
The different one,
yeah,
yeah,
like it's like, okay, I'm aware I'm not the same. I'm aware I don't fit in, but like
yeah,
that's fine. Like
yeah. Yeah. And even like even with just that, but also being a woman who works out and has muscle, like we might be in that community because we're around those people all the time. But if you think about the general population, a lot of people, well, you're in the United States. Let me speak for the States. Most people do not work out consistently. Most people don't. They'll hire a trainer, they'll stay with it for a month, 2 months, leave, not revisit it. Like, and they just let their health go. And that's something for me, it's so important that I I love having muscles. And I've heard some not
same.
great comments that, "Oh, maybe he's not with you because you have too much muscle." Maybe that's I'm like,
Well,
"Literally, I'm
that's
not
not the
kidding."
guy for you then.
That's what I said. I was like, "Okay, fine, then it's not for me." Like, my man will have more muscle than me, I guess. Like, whatever. But that is something, it's very, very important to me of like keeping my insides healthy and my outsides healthy. And yeah, when I go to parties, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want the free alcohol. I don't really care to have it. But the food thing, yeah, I'm very good about I used to bring my food to events. Now I just eat before,
Yeah,
and I'll keep
that
in my
also works.
purse. I'll keep like the smoothie pack I had earlier.
Yeah.
I'll keep that. I'll keep an apple. I'll keep a banana. I'll keep a handful of nuts. Like I'll bring some walnuts with me and I'll keep it all in my purse. And
Yeah.
that's just like my snacks to snack on and I'll just pop it in between. And it's become something I'm so used to that I'm like, whatever. Like even Saturday, I ate before the party, but then I was like, by the time the party ended, I was like, damn, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go home and eat something. So I I did that, but I used to get a lot more bothered. I don't anymore. I'm like, it would be nice if they had something for me, but I'm the kind of person that will always have something for you, but not everybody's like me. And I need to understand that. Like, I need to understand not everybody has that accommodation mindset. And it's frustrating sometimes, but I'm also like, you know what? I'm my own person. I can only control myself. And I do not mind being the different one. But thank you for saying the thing about the personality hire and that because that really like had stuck with me of like, wow, like I'm being tested as the personality hire. Like people, just think I'm this person who's personality hire. And um I just don't want to be, I don't want to be known as I mean, I don't mind being that way,
Yeah, but the question is
but
even if you're known like that or you think you're known like that because you focus on it. Like, because I don't
yeah.
think you're somebody who is like, oh no, everybody now knows you're the personality hire. Like, nobody really thinks that, but we're so stuck in our heads about these
Yeah,
assumptions.
we
It's
are.
like, oh my gosh, everybody knows, like, they're not they gonna take me seriously, or they think that I'm like less skilled or blah
Yeah.
blah blah. It's like
Yeah.
we just get stuck in these like
Yeah.
assumptions and these thoughts about ourselves. Like it's
Yeah.
like I'm telling all this because I have very similar things going on. So it's a good reminder sometimes to hear it from somebody else because a lot of times we don't really take our own advice too well.
No.
So
No.
it's good to have people
We're
that can remind us sometimes.
It's true.
Well, I'm sure I will need to get you back on again.
Oh. Oh, yes. No, literally we gotta make this like a
It's yeah,
monthly
we
thing
need to
or
make this
every
a
other
regular
month.
thing. Like it's
Like you be on mine, I'll be on yours, you be on mine, I'll be on yours, and we could just keep talking because it's so true. Both of us have very similar mindsets and just like little tidbits to take away. I mean, you had said it a few things like paper doesn't need mean skill, gain versus results. Like, what does that mean? And like really understanding how you are or who you are, I should say, how you are in situations and like where your energy is divided. Like these are just some things that people can look for and really note in just what we spoke about. Like I wrote them down and it can help people like
and also like
overcome,
question your
those
thoughts about
comparisons.
yourself. Yeah, that comparison
Yeah.
trap because it's like, is it actually true? And do I have proof for the opposite? Like
Yeah.
the same thing as we talked about me and running. It's like, oh, I'm not a good
It's
runner.
true.
It's
Do we
like,
have proof for the opposite?
yeah,
Oh,
it's like this is such a perfect
yeah.
concept that a friend of mine said. Like it's so good about that proving yourself wrong. You think you're not good at
Yeah.
this. It's
You had
like,
said
okay,
that.
prove
Yeah.
yourself wrong. Like instead of proving
Yeah.
yourself right, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. We have been doing it our whole
Yeah.
lives. What about being like, what if I prove myself wrong? Like just try and see
Yeah.
what happens. You might be right, but then you will actually know that you're right because you actually challenged
Yeah.
it. Um
Yeah.
and then you might be surprised what you find out.
Well, you wanna know something funny? So, when I was younger, I did dance for probably, like since I was 3 years old up until I was 17. I had a dance teacher, always put me in the back, hide me, and she's like, "You just don't have it," would tell me over and over all the time. So, I just was like, "I can't dance." For so long, "I can't dance. I can't dance. I can't dance. I feel awkward. When I dance, people stare at me." I watch videos of myself and I'm
Yeah.
cringing, like, I cringe. And I had a friend in college and he was like, I did a dance team. And of course, like I was actually in the middle. I wasn't all the way in the back, but I got put in the middle. And he's like, none of us could take our eyes off you. You were just smiling and glowing up
Oh.
on stage like you were so good. And I was like, no, I wasn't. Like that was so bad. Like I can't dance. So I I had thought on this a while and you're somebody else, and I guess people on this podcast are going to listen, but like my friends don't even know, my mom doesn't know. I signed up for one-on-one private hip hop lessons to do hip hop dancing. And so I'd start tomorrow. And I told the instructor, I was like, I am not confident when it comes to dancing, and I need to learn how to be confident in this. Because if I can get eventually to be a good dancer, then all hell breaks loose, because
But
that's like,
also
then
keep
it
in
means that you
mind,
can practice to be better at whatever you think you're not good at.
yeah, like so funny. I also have been thinking about doing something with dancing, by the way.
Really? The same. Do it. Do it. I'm doing it once a week. It's for fun.
Yeah.
There's no pressure around it. No dance recitals, no nothing. It's just for fun to learn
Yeah,
how to
but
do
like
it.
what I can
But
tell
yeah.
you with this is I had the same thing with
Yeah.
basketball, because when I was playing, I would be very insecure. Like I would be good, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Mentally, I was not able to enjoy it, and I thought I'm not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Where now that I play, it's like, whoa, I'm good. Like I see stuff. I'm not like
Yeah.
physically in top shape, because like I had like 10-year break in between from basketball.
Yeah. It's
But
okay.
it's kind of the thought there is that keep in mind you're not the same you were there then, like you were then.
Yeah,
Like
it's
even
true.
with all the confidence and
I have the
everything.
booty now.
Because I had the same thing when like one of my teammates invited me to Zumba class, and
Yeah.
I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know. And
Yeah.
then we went to, because I was like, oh, I will be like insecure, like all the body shame, everything. Like I was like, I felt instantly like exposed. And as I was there, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is actually quite fun. Like I would want to do it like again.
Yeah.
Where I think it's just keep in mind you're not the same you were then.
Mhm.
And I think with that also, like with the confidence and all that, like you have very different mindset than you had back then. And just be
Mhm.
mindful when you're
Very true.
dragging the past with you, instead of like enjoying the class, being like, okay, let's get to it,
Yeah.
let's get better. But yeah, we need to close this out.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
you're gonna come
was
back anyway, so we're
amazing.
gonna continue.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
gonna come back. You're gonna come back. We're both gonna be on each other's again. We literally have to make this a regular
but the
thing.
last
So
question that I have to ask you
yes,
is,
ask me.
what's the impossible you're chasing now?
To have I have a couple. To one, have a book out that's with a celebrity and be picked up by a traditional publisher and get New York's bestseller.
Nice.
Second one is to have my podcast picked up by a professional producer and have it streamlined and get big, and either do my own television talk show. And there was a third one, but
Hip hop.
those are two big ones. That one, oh, and then have 4 well-known celebrity clients.
Nice.
So I'm at 2 now. So those are my 3 impossibles
Halfway
right now I'm
there.
chasing. And I'm telling you though, the book stuff has been really hard. Really, like it's been 3 years in the making. No, 2 years, 2 years in the making. Really hard. And the podcast stuff, I'm on my way there, and whatever happens, I'm okay with whatever happens, but that's the impossible I'm chasing, because that's a dream to me. And it's, and even certain celebrities, I'm like, I'd love to work with Selena Gomez and help her with lupus. Like, there's some celebrities I would just love to work with and help because of health crises. So we'll see. Those are my impossibles that I'm chasing. 3 of them. 3.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
the second conversation. Everybody go listen to the first
Yes.
one. And there's more to come. So
Yes,
just
there's
look out
plenty
for
more.
future episodes. All right.
It's so true. Thank you so much for having me.